All right, and we're back with the Storm in a Teacup crew, where bad commentary and exercise meet up on occasion.
Once in a while. When the
from time to time we talk about stuff.
When the feeling strikes us, where bad commentary and exercise collide.
There we go. That's what it was, Forrest.
Yeah,
Almost made it.
I mean, I don't know about you guys,
I thought it
but
was exercise and bad commentary. I didn't even.
I'm pretty bad at exercising, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that we exercise badly as well.
Okay.
You are a poor exerciser. That is true.
Just because I exercise quicker than you does not make me a better person.
Hey, man, it's all about technique and then consistency of technique. Then you bring that intensity.
Yeah, says the man who never
not
met
always
cons.
better, Forrest.
Don't forget about safety.
Well, that's why I'm still waiting on that consistency of technique before I bring the intensity, Forrest. I'm sorry. Longevity.
So in a PC world, I think we should maybe change the intro to bad commentary and safe but quick exercising collide.
Forrest, maybe we should change it to everyone on this podcast squats more than you. .org.
We are a non-profit organization.
I've got a 230-pound man, a 190-pound man, and Squats McGee over here.
I weighed 183 this week because I haven't been able to eat over the last month. I'm working towards that 77-kilo weight class over here. Dad Jiminy.
The tallest 77 lifter in the world.
I really would be. I'm already the tallest 85 lifter.
Now what about a marketing gimmick with the CrossFit gyms instead of like the boot camp and the ab class before spring break? Maybe they could just put like flu on all the barbells and everybody could just get sick.
H1N1 strain.
Yeah, everybody's like, man, I can see my abs again. Well, that's because you've been on the toilet since last Wednesday.
So that's funny. Back in the climbing days, the bouldering days, that was always my secret. Was when I needed to move up a grade, I would just get sick and lose like 5 to 8 pounds, and then I could crank on stuff.
Maybe we should make a shirt that says, "You want to blow it out on the platform, you got to blow it out that ass."
You could write a book, or we could do an ebook, I think, on how to cut weight, and I mean that's it right there. It's just blow it out the ass.
Yeah.
Sweating and squirting, that's all it takes.
So Forrest, have you 1 rep maxed your squat, and is it heavier than my 10 rep max that I hit the other day?
What was your 10?
I hit 300.
Yeah, I hit 3. I either hit 315 or 320 like 12 weeks ago.
So that was it. Was that in a squat suit?
3 ply. Yeah, I was gonna say 3 ply.
Hey Taylor, let's get serious for a second. How's the weather in Chicago?
Ooh.
Oh, super awesome, as usual. It's actually warmed up a little bit. It's like 19 today, so that's exciting.
I think you caught Taylor off guard a little bit with that. He's like, "Oh, it's awesome, guys." Oh.
You should have weather.com on your favorites, Taylor. Seriously.
He was pulling, like he was alt-tabbing through his Word documents like, where are the notes? Where are the notes?
Actually, I just looked out the window. That's what I did. So
okay, man.
Did you know that, no, it wasn't Shackleton. Who was the other South Pole explorer? Who were the two that were racing?
Was that
Don Quixote and
Oh, that was Lewis and Clark. Lewis and Clark.
Oh yeah, they picked up Sacagawea on the way to the South Pole. So, anyways,
right.
To keep morale high, he created a program with his men that who could guess the morning temperature and be the closest, and he would do that. So he would that would incentivize his men to get up and out of bed to go outside and feel what the air felt like. I thought that was a neat little trick. Maybe we could pull that out one day. I don't know.
What
a
bunch of
trick. His guys must have been so stupid.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I'd have been like, yo, Professor asshole, it's freezing and cold as shit outside. That's the temperature, and I'm not going out there. I'm gonna sit in front of the fire.
Yeah,
forget you.
Yeah, but when you've got
it's 1845. If I go outside, there's a legitimate chance that I will die.
It was
late
19th century. Come on. Also, the prizes were probably like seal's milk or something. That's like 60% fat, man. That's great.
How do you milk a seal?
You can milk anything with nipples.
Can you milk me?
I've got nipples.
Okay, so let's. You guys want to talk? You guys want to talk about
today?
You guys want to talk about something cool, something neat? Maybe the Open.
Something near and dear to your heart.
Let's do it.
The Safe Exercising Open. So now, Taylor, are we going to have your full attention, or are you still watching cross country skiing in the Olympics?
Yes.
Perfect. So the Open. I guess let's talk big picture. This will be. They start. When did they start the Open? What was the first year?
2011. Because the year 2010 was the sectionals.
Sectionals.
Even though you can't find the 2011 data on the game site.
See, it's because you say things like that we get put into the sexuals section on iTunes, Caleb.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I am a sexual being, Forrest. I am from Mars.
Caleb, tell us about sectionals, because I feel like a lot of the CrossFitters today don't even know what sectionals were.
So before CrossFit in 2011 standardized the Open in order to qualify for regionals, in 2010 you had to go to sectionals, and you didn't need any kind of invitation. You just went. You signed up and you went, and it was like, I don't know, $30. And they were different from region to region. And every
section to section.
Or yeah, section to section, and you would go, and it was like just a local throwdown competition kind of thing, where it was 2 days, Saturday, Sunday. Actually, I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I competed in 2010 with a torn rotator cuff in my left shoulder, and it was pretty miserable, but I made it to the finals somehow.
Pound CrossFit.
I made it to the finals, and I had to stop because it was like, snatches and handstand push-ups and box jumps, and I was wrecked. But it was interesting because every different sectional had different workouts, and they could be created, however the leader of the sectionals chose them to be. And our sectionals was ran by Russell Berger and actually Grant Scalf, who is here as a part of the Storm and Teacuppers.
What's up, guys?
He was the head judge, so big shout out to him. Throwing back all the way back to 2010.
Grant peaked early. He peaked real early.
He did, but I think that he realized, like, I like this judging thing. I think I'm going to stick with this.
It's smart. You guys were out there in the freezing cold, like running 600 meters and doing 25 pull-ups for 5 rounds. And I was just kind of sitting back watching my judges and giving them some critiques. That was also when Rich Froning came on the scene.
It was. I competed against Rich Froning that day.
That was kind of his first I guess
that was his coming out party.
It was his coming out party. And I remember we all looked at him. He took the shirt off. He had the gelled hair. He had the headband and he had the bracelets on. And we were like, what? And then he did sets of 25 pull-ups unbroken for 5 rounds.
Yeah, no problem. And I remember he was wearing like camouflage shorts, and I was kind of chuckling. I was like, what a goon. And then he just dominated everybody.
Who was the guy who took second or third that year in our sectional? There was a guy
Brandon
from
Phillips.
Memphis. No, and then who was the other one?
I don't think Mike McGoldrick was top 3.
No, it was not McGoldrick. And the guy's still around because I know he qualified top 60, but he just had that really trashy diet. He was like, I eat McDonald's. And
yeah, that's Rich Froning.
Obviously Rich said that, but there was another guy who was like, yeah, I drink beer, eat McDonald's.
Wasn't there
he wore jean shorts. I'm almost positive the guy was wearing jean shorts for a Metcon.
Forrest, you were
you.
so hammered that weekend that you weren't even seeing
Oh,
straight.
God, that was Garage Games. I forgot. Man.
Forrest just said Metcon instead of WAD. Thank God.
I hardly
man.
ever say what.
Oh,
I go
God.
back and forth and use them just interchangeably.
They're synonymous, guys.
I'm not at Brandon Bergen 6 wads in an hour. So
Okay, so hey, let's do this. It's whenever Brandon Bergen's name comes up, I'm like, all right, we got to push forward. We're gonna spend 10 minutes on
Every time Brandon
Bergen.
Bergen comes up, you got to drink.
Everyone at home, take a pull from your whiskey. So let's talk about the evolution of that. So that was Sectionals 2010. In 2011, they did an online Open. what do you guys prefer? Do you prefer the sectionals before regionals, or do you prefer this online open?
Sectionals.
You're so stupid.
Well, I disagree, but I feel like they should marry the two concepts maybe a little more. I like the idea of like a game day kind of thing. It definitely makes it feel more special. But the fact that there was no uniformity, like from section to section, like you're able to stack up the data a little bit better and, measure, it's just not at the discretion of whoever is coming up with the workouts because, I mean, trust me, like everybody was wrecked after our sectionals. I think the way they do it now is a lot better, and it's fun over the 5 weeks, but I think there's opportunities to make it even better still.
I think personally, like I prefer, like Caleb said, like a game day environment, and I also prefer the fact that everybody is getting judged by the same judges, so there's some sort of kind of standardization there, because I mean the biggest flaw in my mind with the Open is just you don't have, I mean, yeah, there's the online judges course or whatever, but it's so hard. And I know they're doing the video stuff this year, but it's so hard when you're, for coaches judging their own athletes. I mean, I know a lot of coaches do a really good job, but I know a lot don't too. So, and I know they're trying to remedy that and everything. But I do prefer the game day, but I think given what the goal is, the broad participation and everything, I think the Open is a better format for that, just given kind of the overall goal to reach as many people as possible.
Yeah, I think you have to go with that online format. I mean, everything's moving online now, right? So no one has cable anymore. You just have Netflix. So no one's going to travel to CrossFit K-Town anymore. I'm starting a video blog where I just coach from home. So,
well, I just want to defend the fact that there's something to be said about what you guys are saying. Like I appreciate what Caleb was saying, the game day atmosphere. That's awesome. I wish that they could do that. I wish they could combine those two concepts and do that. Of course, there's way too many participants, but there's something to be said about live, like 1, 2, maybe 3 Metcons in a day, real performance, because that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do in regionals. That's what you have to do at the games. So why do we go to this totally different concept to see who qualifies
to bring more people in? Like it's just
but
is
that what it is? Is that what it is? We're just
it's
going to
evolution.
Say it's evolution, yes, but is it just a marketing concept? Is that what we're going to?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, they got to pay the bills, so
Yeah,
I understand that. But listen, you're the same guy that back in the day was like, no, why do we need to pipe the refuse away? Why can't we just keep defecating in a bucket in the house? I like that. Like you don't like change, Forrest. That's all there is.
Change is scary.
For the record, I don't think Forrest lives in the Middle Ages. Like I think he's got basic hygiene. I mean, he's in Maryville, for God's sake. They have an outhouse. I mean, come on.
Maryville is borderline Middle Ages. The Renaissance hasn't hit Maryville yet.
Where are you going to send your kids to school when it's time? Yeah. No, but I'm just saying, like, I think, CrossFit's not hurting for money. As long as we keep having people who want to get level 1 certified, CrossFit will never be hurting for money. I just think there's something to be said, like, I love regionals. I love the games. And it's because that was the way I was brought up in CrossFit. And I actually get, like, that there's a certain level of stupidity behind doing 6 Metcons in a day. But for me, that will always be what CrossFit is about, is who can go in there and do different modalities in the same day. I mean,
would you call them Metcons of the day? A mod?
Yeah, but you really preclude a lot of people if you're asking people to then travel to sectionals. Let's say sectionals was even just the state of Tennessee. Now you're talking about, at K-Town we had last year maybe 90 athletes signed up for the Open. You're talking about 90 people traveling to Nashville to do, to feel like they're a part of this bigger fitness movement, this online kind of deal. And I don't see that happening.
And logistically, like it's going to be almost nearly impossible to run. So it's kind of a necessary evil in the evolution of CrossFit. As much as I like that game day atmosphere a lot better, like the Open is about inclusivity. And I mean, I think that's why they call it the Open, because there's kind of that implied inclusivity. But what do you guys think about kind of as the evolution of the CrossFit Open has progressed, like, do you think it's still for everybody?
Well, let's actually. So before that, like how well do you think it has progressed? Like how well has the CrossFit Open evolved? Like Taylor, can you speak to that?
I would say, I mean, I think it's evolving very quickly. I mean, I think from 2011 to now, 2014, it's really exploded in terms of what the workouts are, how I guess the difficulty of the workouts, participation has gone up dramatically. I mean, I think you see it. I mean, if you go and just hang out on the map.crossfit.com and look at all the CrossFit gyms that have now like popped up all over the world. I mean, there's three CrossFits on the island of Guam, which is like a mile wide. There's 3 CrossFits. And I think the only...
For every 5 people on the island of Guam, there is a CrossFit gym.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah. I mean, so, I mean, the explosion could only be compared, I mean, historic reference. I mean, it's kind of like when the Ayatollah took over Iran. I mean, it just happened, it feels like it just happened overnight, and it just exploded, and now we're all held hostage. So, I mean, I think that's kind of what it's like.
The Ayatollah. No, that's... Well, that was good.
What do you think?
I have no comeback.
I think one of the best things that the Open has done is like find more like better ways to like standardize range of motion. So whether it's like burpee overhead touches rather than just burpees, or like the I guess another example would just be like the burpee over the bar, or other types of movements. And I think that's where there's still a lot more opportunity for CrossFit HQ to figure out those ways to make these movements we do all the time a little bit easier to judge, because I'm sure they understand, it's a freaking hassle. Like there is a lot of gray area on some of these movements to be judged one way or the other, without like a really solid pause at the top. And so it's like, what is the wiggle room that we provide? And so it's better to have like some kind of tactile cue or some better way to standardize something other than knees and hips come to a full extension at the top, which I understand that a lot of the movements in CrossFit, that is as far as it's going to be able to go. But I think they're, trying to think outside the box and come up with, some...
Making things more measurable, more repeatable. I mean, it all goes back to, just basic CrossFit principles. I mean, make it measurable, make it repeatable. I think we talked about that last week when we were talking about the workouts that are programmed at local competitions and stuff. I think that's the one thing that the Open they are doing a better job of, and it helps a lot, like you said, with the judging and just watching. I mean, when you have the bar, like you said, tactile cues and all that stuff. So I totally
agree like getting from one side of a box to the other, like I feel is a lot easier way to count one rep of a, like, rather than opening your knees and hips at the top of a box before you get back down. Just who cares about that? Just get over the freaking box. Like, you can jump over it, you can step up and step down, you can jump up and jump down. Just get over it.
You can roll over it.
You can what?
You can roll over it. You can just lay on
top.
Ninja
Turtles roll. Yeah, I like that. Well, so I mean, this is the fourth time that they will have run the Open online. They've become exceedingly efficient at it. Do you think, Taylor, that the Open is for everyone? I mean, that's kind of what they talk about. That's what HQ, the media team, CrossFit media team, keeps publishing all these articles, that it is for everyone, and they highlight all these stories. What do you think? Is it for everyone? Should everyone sign up and do the Open?
It's one of those things where I think the movements are like last year's Open. I mean, every year it gets a little bit harder. I think the movements are at a certain point where I would say if you're brand new to CrossFit, like if you just started like a week ago and then you're going to say, and then the Open starts, I don't think it would be the best thing for you from that perspective, just from a health and fitness standpoint. From the standpoint of, doing the Open in general, I mean, it's always good to compare scores and all that, but I think you have to think about, what's your goal? I mean,
what is your goal, Taylor?
I think HQ. Give me a second. I think HQ's done a good job of making the point that you're not you're not Rich Froning, you're not Sam Briggs, you're not one of these top athletes. So I think at a certain
That's
point they're
so
gonna have to
un-American
address-
of you.
Dude, Sam Briggs only won once. How do you know that she's the top competitor?
The primary purpose of the Open at the end of the day is to qualify for regionals. The primary purpose of regionals is to qualify for the games. So I think at some point they're going to have to address the issue of, we have 1 million people doing the Open. Only 500 people are going to go to regionals. What's the real motivation anymore other than just to do it and know where I'm at? I don't know. Do you need to pay the $20 or whatever?
Well,
to do that, I mean, you can go on the leaderboard and say, oh, look, I would have placed 332nd on this workout without paying the money. And not to say it's a lot of money, and not to say it's not worth it. I'm just saying I think that's going to be an issue, if not now, then down the road. Like, why? I mean, like for me, for example, I've qualified for regionals in the past. I know I wouldn't qualify for regionals now. So I'm kind of like, I can do if I sign up for the Open, which I probably will. It's just going to be like, I'm just doing it for fun. Does it really fit? Do any of the workouts really fit in with my goals as far as health and getting stronger and all that stuff? Well, probably not. So, but it doesn't really fit into anything unless you're motivated and you're going to push to qualify for regionals.
I'm going to let Caleb come in on this. I just want to quickly say it's a data storage. You're paying $20 to store your Open scores online, so they're archived, and you can go back and look at yourself and compare your scores from one year to the next. Compare your scores to your friends and the top guys. What were you gonna say, Caleb?
Yeah. I think it's more for the everyman. It's kind of like more fun than it is like about going to regionals. Like it is kind of a pissing contest. Like if I wanted to, I can stack my data up against Brandon Berg and drink. But like it's something like that where it's kind of fun and I mean it is a data storage. But my question is, as the sport continues to progress, how inclusive does this continue to be? Because let's face it, the average Joe everyman CrossFitter can't do chest to bar pull-ups. He can't do a lot of chest to bar pull-ups, that's for damn sure. Muscle ups and so stuff like that, where if this is really a proving ground for the fittest to make it to regionals, like how much more separation does there need to be as far as like, hey, this is a legitimate test of fitness over 5 workouts, and hey, this is inclusive for Susie Homemaker, who likes to get out and do CrossFit and is trying to get her life back on track and has been lost 60 pounds in the last 2 years, and like she's not a great athlete, but she uses CrossFit as a GPP or even just a means to stay healthy, and she loves the sport. Like I just don't see. I think that it's losing some of its validity for some of the fittest, and it's not fair to some of those people who are signing up, who are the everyman CrossFitter. Like they're like that. They got a 4-minute workout to work out last time, and they did a couple of thrusters, and then they couldn't put together 15 chest to bar pull-ups, so they just sat there with their thumb in their ass, and like that's not a good return.
But that's a poor coaching cue though, to say okay and then insert thumb into ass. Like that's on the coach.
True,
dude. You tell me that all the time.
But at the same time, they can't input their score any higher than that. So.
Well, here's the thing, though. It comes back to
when they get to a movement they can't physically do. I mean, I agree. I saw a lot of that last year. I totally agree.
This is honestly, you're kind of coming from one of my previous perspectives. It's not fair. Like, I view CrossFit as something, like, competition-wise, you should be able to do multiple Metcons, WODs, Brandon Bergen, drink.
Mods.
You should be able to do that in a day, but that's not what they're looking for here. So it's like... tough luck for us. That's not what we're looking for here. And in your case, tough luck. It's not what they're looking for. It's not CrossFit's problem that people can't do chest to bar. That's what they're asking us to do. So,
learn how to do some MF and chest to bar.
Well, okay. I think that the programmers, whoever they may be, do a pretty all right job of at least allowing you to start the workout and get some reps and get a score. And I think a lot of it is on the coach's responsibility at the individual gyms to say, here's what we're going to do. I want you to hit the 100-pound thrusters. You can't do chest to bar pull-ups. Why don't we do regular pull-ups? Why don't we do ring rows? And let's come back to to get 15 of those, and then come back to your barbell, do the thrusters again. You're only going to post a score of 15, but you're going to get, you're going to work for 4 minutes just like everyone else. Which I know that's still like in a lot of people's minds. That's still like, why the hell did I pay the money for the Open if I'm gonna have to scale the workouts and all of that?
Right.
But that's one workout out of 5. I mean, the other ones I thought were, other than maybe the toes to bar. Toes to bar is hard for a lot of people.
Muscle ups. There's a muscle up.
Yeah, no,
workout,
but the
there's a
muscle ups,
toes
that
bar
doesn't
workout.
matter.
That's, yeah,
No,
yeah,
muscle ups
that's
don't
wall
matter.
balls, double unders. They're getting stuff
But
in there.
But there's people that can't do double unders.
Hey,
either.
I'm one of those people.
Well,
I know, Taylor.
No, that I don't give anyone an excuse for not being able to do double unders. Just
Shut
put the time
it.
in. Anyone can do them. But okay,
This is the guy that was double undering out of his mother's womb that
Yeah,
day.
I saw
maybe
this.
so.
box jumps and double unders, Boaz.
Yeah. But no, hey, honestly, let's look at this realistically. If somebody is complaining about the money, what the hell? I mean, how much do you pay monthly to go to CrossFit? So these people should not be. The money is not a valid argument.
I don't think so either. I think it's just about fairness.
Yeah, but if a CrossFitter looks at me and says, "I don't want to pay $20 to do this," I'm gonna look at you and say, "But you want to pay $150 a month to exercise as fast as you can and get out of a gym." No.
Safely exercise.
Yes.
And then pay another $150
It's
a
not-
month for your supplement stacks that you're going to be
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. So
Hey,
get out of here.
Progenics keeps me
Okay,
going.
all right. So here's another question, and I think muscle ups are kind of a good example of this. So, all right, you have muscle ups, which I think is a great gymnastic movement, a great way to test your gymnastic prowess or whatever, and it's like it should be used more often, and especially in order to get to regionals, I think it should be used. But at the same time, it's not how much more are they going to be able to figure out how much work they can cram in before the muscle ups to where it's still relevant for both parties. Well, or more than both parties. There's kind of like those people who are, trying to make it to regionals. Those people who are like a better CrossFitter, like a good athlete, but they're not going to make it to regionals. And then those people who like are just, getting their bearings again. So like, how do they make it? So how do they make it relevant? Like, if this is about inclusivity, I just feel like it's going to be impossible to continue balancing these workouts for everybody. And there's only so many workouts like the snatch burpee workout. Like, you're going to run out of options, I feel like. And it's not going to...
Well, I think that's, just sort of part of a broader issue, which is as CrossFit becomes, the sport advances and becomes bigger and bigger and becomes more professionalized, yeah, I could go play a flag football game, but I couldn't, that doesn't qualify me to play in the NFL. And so at some point, I agree. I mean, the inclusivity issue is going to be a major issue as we, continue. And who's, are you going to have certain prerequisites just to do the Open? Like, do you need to have muscle? I mean,
is it going to be
do you need
the...
to be able to do muscle ups? Like, I mean, like, what's it? How is it going to stay inclusive and still be a valid qualifier?
Well, it's evolution. It's
And
going to be
that's-
evolution. They're going to have to include more things. They can't shy away from that forever. They're going eventually. Handstand push-ups are going to have to get in there. Rowing, running. I mean, they've got to evolve. That's what I view evolution as: is the including new movements.
I agree. I think
I thought evolution was weeding out the weak. I thought that's what that was.
Yeah, that was
I
a-
only wish.
that was a poor reading of Origin of Species, I think, Taylor. What I wonder is, here's the 4th year. I think it's going to look a lot like it did last year. maybe the 5th year, which I think the 5th year anniversary is the wooden anniversary. Maybe Forrest can speak to that. He's been married for half a decade.
I thought it was cork.
Is cork a kind of wood, though? I don't know. I wonder if the next evolution, and I say that jokingly because I think the new, like the drinking word for this episode is going to be evolution. We've said it so many times.
I thought it was Brandon Bergen.
I mean, it's drink. It's always Brandon Bergen. Drink.
Drink.
But I wonder if year 5 you see a league develop, like you see 2 different leagues, like you see your quote unquote
AFC and NFC.
pro CrossFitters. I mean, you're actually Taylor. Your NFL argument. Let's think about that. Let's think if like before every season, before the NFL season, everyone in America or in the world, since I guess the Seahawks are the quote world champions.
Bullshit. Don't even. God, I will kill you.
Easy, Forrest. Easy. Forrest, a 49ers fan. He's still a little butthurt.
Not only that, NFC champions dominating the NFC championship.
Go cheer for the Bears. God.
Okay, so hear me out. Imagine if God, I wish I knew anything about the NFL right now. Imagine if Peyton Manning before the NFL season is having to hand the ball off in flag football games just to qualify for the NFL, for the B League, and then he goes to the B League, and now he's handing off to these scrubs that are athletes just so he can qualify to play 16 regular season games or however many games they play in an NFL season. Yeah, right now maybe that does make the sport and the route to the games a little illegitimate.
Or if Asafa Pal had to race me on a track and he was like, "What the hell is this thing?"
I mean, here's the problem with that though. You guys are using very elite arguments. You're using an argument of like top 3 best quarterback ever.
No, call him what he is. Call him what he is. He's the best quarterback ever.
I'm not. He is. Shut up! Listen, he is the most skilled quarterback.
Caught.
He is the most skilled quarterback ever. I'm not going to say he's the best quarterback ever. Those are 2 different arguments. But anyways, let's look at it this way. I mean, what if we look at it, say, from Russell Wilson or Colin Kaepernick's standpoint? Colin Kaepernick was not the starter. He stole the starting job from the starter. Russell Wilson.
I don't think he stole it. I think it was given to him after he proved himself.
No, he stole it. So, anyways, Russell Wilson was not the starter. I mean. There's the reason we do this process, OTAs, training camps, is because sometimes there's a better option out there. So, I mean, I think looking at it from that elite standpoint of Peyton Manning or Asafa Powell, that's a bit much.
No, but I would put the Russell Wilsons and the Colin Kaepernicks in the same category as Peyton. I'm just saying that. No. Listen to me. It's a very broad category. I'm not saying that they're the best quarterbacks of all time, like Peyton obviously is, but. Imagine next year, Castro comes out with a big announcement and says, "Hey, to qualify for regionals now, you're going to have to sign up for the quote unquote pro league, and you need to have this equipment at your disposal. And finally, thank God, one of those pieces of equipment will be an erg, so we can have a row in the open.
Great idea.
Or some type of long, aerobic piece like that. But what if? I mean, I think that's where it should go. Honestly,
yeah, I completely agree.
Here's my question: do you guys remember? Didn't Atlanta do a league for a while? Did they still do that?
Atlanta,
so there are leagues.
I think
leagues that are around right now.
Yeah,
there's other leagues, but I just don't know how successful they are. I've seen the ones.
Our gym is in a league.
Okay.
We're in a league.
The Justice League was pretty successful.
Well, yeah, I mean I think CrossFit should look to.
I'm a big fan of the Legion of
Superman.
Doom,
he can thruster pretty well.
They should look to these leagues and see what they're doing, what's successful, what's not successful.
Well, I think you're right. I think Tony Budding has put his clout behind like a real league, and I know we've received some emails that just go to the spam folder because all it is a bunch of BS right now. But I think things like that are starting to develop, and I think it will trickle up, if you will, or percolate up into the open. And we might see that if it's not next year, we might see it the year after that. I don't know. I hope we do.
So you're saying you believe in bottom-up economics?
I think that a complex system, Taylor, you're not going to have top-down control over it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, now let me ask you this. So we're talking about leagues. How do you?
How liberal of you.
I want to get off economics as quickly as possible. I hate you guys. What about so like garage games? Do you see that being something that CrossFit would look into? Is where they?
Hold on. Speaking of emails going to spam, this is hilarious. I don't know if you guys are on the email list, but the garage games, their email account got hacked, and on Friday, in an 8-hour span, I received over 80 emails from garage games, and it was like my phone was just going off the hook. It was so ridiculous. And they couldn't get it figured out. Like, they couldn't figure out just to pull the plug on their listserv, and so everyone's reply-alling too. This is the thing that was so insane is everyone replies all to everyone else and says, I think your email got hacked. 40 of the messages were people going, oh, I think your email was hacked. just so ridiculous.
Hey, they're CrossFit coaches, not technology experts. Come on.
You're the exception to that.
Only Brandon Bergen can bridge that gap.
Drink.
Okay, so Forrest, ask that question again about garage games.
How do you think CrossFit looks at the garage games? Do you think they're looking at that as another method of a way of sort of starting a league, or another venture that they can branch out to and say like, oh, well, let's do CrossFit sanction competitions here and here and here, and work like a point system at the end of the year?
Did we talk about this last week?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it turns into a year-round.
No, I don't think so. Just because like there needs to be a downtime.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do 6 Metcons every Saturday. You can't.
You can't if you're Brandon Bergen.
I didn't drink.
Well, I mean,
no, I didn't say every weekend. I'm saying a year-round. Like maybe it's a monthly thing.
Well,
maybe it's a bi-monthly.
But the thing is, I think CrossFit is honestly smart enough to look at it and do it in a way that is attainable. Where it's like, okay, we're gonna have 6 competitions, and this week you're going to do a CrossFit total or an Olympic lifting total, and then next week we're going to do just a old-fashioned style CrossFit competition, and then next week you're going to do something like this, something to sort of lessen that volume.
Get old-fashioned CrossFit competition.
Hey, Caleb, are you suggesting an old-fashioned?
Maybe I am. There's nothing like an old-fashioned to put you right to sleep.
Right, Brandon Bergen?
I'm getting hammered. We gotta cut that stuff out.
It would have been great if in the beginnings of this podcast we just created a total mythical name, someone that didn't exist that we could just utilize like this.
But this way, everyone.
As far as our listeners are concerned, Brandon Bergen is a mythical.
Brandon Bergen is getting so many friend requests on Facebook.
Okay, I'm
right
not
now.
even
Everyone's going to be looking at his open scores and like.
If you guys keep this up, I'm not even gonna be able to drive home. So seriously, you guys gotta.
Do you think Brandon Bergen beats Matt Baird in the Open this year?
Ooh,
God dang it!
Okay,
I'm not going down
how about
this.
Brandon Bergen versus Sam Dancer.
Sam Dancer is hell of a competitor.
Well, tell me how you feel about Sam Dancer for us.
Do you want to answer that question?
No, I'm good.
All right,
leave it alone.
Speaking of competitors, who are you guys? Well, first, who do you think is going to win? 2, who do you think is going to be kind of the dark horse? And then 3, who do you want to win?
Well, let's do this.
In the Open?
Obviously, all 4 of us on number 3. Who do we want to win? Brandon Bergen. But let me ask you this, because I think this leads into that question. Is they're taking 48, correct? 48 top male, top female, 48.
Yes.
To each region. I believe that's correct.
That is.
I think the top 10, top 15 every year, they look pretty much the same. That doesn't change a whole lot region to region, I think. But with the new rules that have come into effect, I think that's going to shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, on the back end for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom 12 to 18, I think in every region is going to look a lot different. Because I mean, we're in the Central East, and CrossFit K-Town has put a team up into regionals in Columbus for the past, I guess, 3 years.
Yeah,
And
top
then-
5 for the past 3 years.
Yeah, and then the 4 years ago we were in Southeast and we sent a team down to Jacksonville, but Jacked and Tan, pound Jacked and Tan. Follow us, like us, Instagram us. I think that that's going to change things. I mean, what I was saying is we get to regionals every year, and you look at the bottom 10 competitors, and they're just not cut out for it. And you wonder how they get there. And maybe some of that has to do with the way the Open is programmed, and you're going to get some Open ninjas that just have huge gas tanks but can't move big weight when they get to regionals,
Or perform high school movements.
Or high school movements.
High school.
Do you
talking about Haskell Brown?
Do you think that the rules? I mean, let's touch on that real quick. For individuals, how much does the new rule change where you have to video every single workout? How much is that rule change going to affect who we see at regionals?
Now, let me ask this question real quick. Now, do they have to post this to YouTube, or is this just something they send to CrossFit?
They just have to hold.
Only CrossFit gets to see this video.
Well, they just have to hold on. They have to film every single one, and if they qualify for regionals, then HQ will ask.
CrossFit will pick a
Yeah,
random
they'll just pick a random one and be
1
like,
through
hey,
5.
send me this one.
Okay.
And they'll have to send them that workout, and if they can't do it and it's not validated, the score isn't legit, then they lose their invitation.
Okay.
So make sure for us that you video all of your workouts this year.
I got Jeremy Fowler, dog. He can do anything with a camera.
I wonder if there's like a CGI like wizard out there that's just like,
Dude,
he
I'm
makes
gonna
like
I'm gonna look like Avatar out there. I'm gonna have Jeremy avatar me into Metcons.
Hey, we can put up we'll put up a how-to article on the website on how to change your muscle driver clock to where 1 second is actually going to be about 1.001 seconds, and you're going to gain a little bit of extra time in those AMRAPs.
Now we're cooking.
Love the hacks.
It's like 6 seconds per AMRAP.
Hacksing.
So I think
Okay.
we all agree that Rich Froning's still going to make regionals.
Yeah, the top
I
guys
don't
at
know.
regionals will still make it, but like it does change up because for some people that is their goal. That's their only goal is to get to regionals, and every year that gets harder. So I think this is a great new thing to introduce. I think it should have been done earlier, but I'm happy to see them do it, not just for individuals, even though it's going to make being a gym proprietor it's going to be one hell of a headache. But it's going to make it better. It's going to make the quality of athlete higher, and it's going to make the cheaters out there, because there are a lot of cheaters. We all know that. It's going to make them a little bit more hesitant to cheat. And then also on the team side, I'm glad that they switched that up to where the teams that are going aren't, piggybacking off the success of their, 1 or 2 awesome athletes that are just cranking out 50 extra reps than everyone else on workouts.
Yeah,
Agreed.
so I mean, to take that a little further, just to explain that is, let's take Rich Froning as an example. He has helped qualify. I guess Mayhem is the current gym, but he's helped qualify.
Well, it was him and Dan Bailey.
That's true. That's true. So for a couple years, it was both of them. They helped qualify. Mayhem at I think they were even top 3 last year, but going into regionals they qualified extremely high because they were able to use Rich and Dan's scores. Now at the end of the Open, if you say you're going team, if you say you're going individual, all of your scores are negated for your team, and so they're canceled out. And now that drops your team down a little bit, and it picks up that 4th best male or 4th best female scores for the 5 workouts. And that's another one that I wish we would have seen a long time ago. We were very fortunate at our gym to where that's never really affected us, but man, we know a lot of gyms that's fringe gyms that are really wanting to make it to regionals. That's their goal, and that's really affected them. So I'm happy to see that.
And we should point out that Mayhem did do very well at regionals
Yes.
the last 2 years. So
They went to the games, right?
yeah, they went to the games this past year. They got first at our regionals this past year, I think.
Yeah,
Either first
yeah.
or second. Yeah.
So understand that, ladies and gentlemen, that was just an example that's fresh in the mind.
Right,
Yeah, the Mayhem team was excellent. We have some
I
friends
think-
on that team. Good people.
I think too it's important. I mean, I think qualifying for regionals as a team, as a gym, like I think that's going to be more and more important because I think that builds sort of a momentum at your gym as far as getting more competitive athletes for your team in future years. When they know, oh, you guys have a team that qualified for regionals, more athletes are going to want to come to your gym and be on your team. And I know, with like this is just kind of a big example would be Tommy Hackenbrook's gym. They took a team to the games the last 2 years and won the games both years, and as a result, a whole bunch of more athletes in the area joined his gym to compete on a team for him. And then last year he took 2 teams to the games, and I think his B team, so to speak, finished in like the top 10 in the world. So I mean, qualifying for regionals builds momentum. And I know for us, I mean, when I was at K-Town, we went to regionals in 2010, again in 2011, and then more athletes came, and then over time, your placings start going up and up and up because more people want to train and be a part of that. So it builds momentum. And I think, if you're a team that's on the fringe of qualifying for regionals or not, and maybe you haven't been qualifying for regionals because of individual athlete scores counting for other gyms that maybe have teams that aren't as good, then those teams that shouldn't be there are, gaining athletes and gaining momentum, whereas maybe you're doing really good training and everything else, and maybe athletes are leaving you because you can't you're always on that fringe, not able to quite get over the hump, so to speak. So I think that's a really important rule, and I agree. I wish it had happened, I wish it started out that way in 2011.
Do you think that excellence breeds excellence?
Iron sharpens
that's
iron.
where I was going next, you bastard.
Yep.
Absolutely. I think we've experienced that at K-Town, at our gym. I think that our CV or our resume of sending, qualifying individuals to the game and then also qualifying a team every year has definitely brought us more high caliber athletes because they see that and they like that. They want to be a part of a competitive gym that knows what they're doing, or at least if they're qualifying people, it looks on the leaderboard like we know what we're doing. I mean, we might just be accidentally doing that and just getting lucky with the athletes that we have, which is pretty accurate. But yeah, I think excellence breeds excellence, certainly. So I think we killed that. We killed the rules. Let's go back to Caleb's original question. Caleb, do you want to frame your 1, 2, 3 again on who? Yeah, go for it.
So the question was, who do we think will win? The Open. Yeah. We're just talking about the Open today. So
the Olympics.
So who do we think will win? Who do we think will be the dark horse that kind of like, comes out of nowhere, or either that or makes a big leap? And then, last of all, who do we want to win? Daddy Longs, start us out.
Who will win? I'll stick with the usual Rich Froning. I will say that
boring.
I will say that Miko will probably do well because he excels at those basic movements and has a good motor. So it wouldn't surprise me if he did that. But I'll stick with Rich Froning. Who do I think my dark horse is? 2 options: Kalipa or Garrett Fisher. I'm gonna go with Fisher. I think Fisher's gonna kind of explode this year and do really well. Who do I want to win? Rich, just because he's such a good spokesman for the sport. I mean, it's
boring.
Sorry.
All right. Whoever is the most different from Forrest, go next.
I think I'm a little different from Forrest.
Right.
Who do I think will win? Well, Rich. No, I'm kidding. Forrest, you jackass. The Open, I think, is built for Josh Bridges, and I think if he gets a chance to do it, I don't know what his deal is. I know 2 years ago he was deployed and couldn't compete in the games. I don't remember if he actually did the Open. I think he might have, but I think that he took third last year. He's only improved. He's got a great programmer and coach with CJ Martin. So I'd really like to see Josh Bridges do well, and That's who I also think he will win. Number 2, I already forgot. What's number 2?
Who's the dark horse that comes
Dark
out of nowhere?
horse. So Z.A. Anderson, I know he's still hurting from the games last year. He's got some knee problems, but he is of the athletes, like let's say of the top 10 last year at the games, I honestly think he's probably improved the most. I mean, CrossFit was still so new for him. He hadn't been around very long that I think he's probably really figured out a lot of efficiency things. His strength has really shot up. Hit a power jerk at 385 the other day. I mean, dude's strong. He's got an engine. He can move. I just hope that his injuries don't keep him from doing really well in the open if he chooses to do it. And then third is who I want to win.
Mm-hmm.
Who I want to win.
Lex.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I know he.
I thought we all wanted Brandon Bergen to win.
I want Lex to win. He would
Yeah.
be hilarious.
So yeah, I mean, Z.A. Anderson's one of his younger brothers, Alex Anderson, is at our gym and one of our athletes, and I would love to see him win. I think he knows just as well as we do that winning the Open outright is probably not necessarily a long shot, but it would be very difficult. But I would love to see him, take top 3 in our region, Central East region, which is a difficult Open region for males. And
the top 10 guys in the Central East could probably qualify in some of the other regions in the United States.
I mean, no doubt. But there's a difference between the Open and regionals.
Yeah.
I think the Southeast men, that's probably the hardest Open region, honestly.
Probably.
I mean, that's a deep region.
Just to make it to regionals, yeah.
Yeah. But so I'd love to see Lex or Alex Anderson do really well and take top 3 in Central East. Taylor, what you got?
I was going to agree with you as far as who wins the Open. I think Josh Bridges, like you said, it's built for him. I think Miko could make a very legitimate run at it if he's healthy, but I think that's at this point, that's pretty iffy. I mean, I don't know what the heck's going on with that guy. And then Dark Horse, I would say, honestly, I would go with Scott Panchek. I mean,
He was 4th in
That
the
kid's
Open
strong
last year.
as-
How is he a dark horse?
Dark Horse.
all right, you want me to go darker than
Let's
that?
go
Okay,
super
let's
dark,
go
pitch
darker
black.
than that. Super dark.
Easy.
My dark horse will be Chad McKay, just because he's a big guy, and I feel like someone needs to give a big guy a shot.
All right.
That is a very dark horse. Jeez.
Caleb, are you gonna?
Yeah, super
We got to
dark.
hear who he wants to win.
Who I want
Yeah.
to win the Open. Can I be perfectly
Yeah.
frank, guys?
Yeah.
I could not care less who wins the Open.
Yeah,
I really don't.
yeah.
I mean, you win, you lose. As long as you qualify for regionals, who cares? And I think most of the top CrossFit athletes, their goal is just to qualify for their region, and where you finish. Once you've qualified, you set your own destiny at regionals, but who cares where you finish in your regions?
You set your own destiny at regionals.
CrossFit as a sport, if it's your paycheck, then you want to make as much money as you can from the Open.
Word up. So you can
What
get
money
some
you
new
gonna-
shoes from your sponsor.
I thought you went to. All you had to do was.
No, I know you have to give a solid effort just to get to just to qualify for regionals, and that's going to take some top scores. But I'm saying, my goal, if I was a guy who's, let's say I was top 10 in my region, I'd be, if I finished 16th or 17th, whatever in the Open. I mean, the regionals is a totally different ball game.
No,
We've
yeah,
already
I
covered
understand.
that. As far as weights and movements and everything else.
I
So,
understand.
As long
I
as
understand
I feel
you.
good about where my training is at and all that stuff.
He understands.
then
But you don't understand
who
me.
cares
You
who
don't
wins?
understand me. If we're talking about who wins the
I've never understood you.
if we're talking about who wins the Open, you're probably talking about some people that are going to get some first place finishes on workouts. And I mean, there's cash
Yeah.
prizes for those workouts. And actually, isn't there a cash prize for the total winnings now? Yeah, of the Open. Come on, Taylor.
What are your odds of getting that? I mean, really?
Okay, my turn.
There's only a very
My only question is Caleb going to come off of his pick of Matt Baird to win the Open?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Actually, God, I hate to agree with you guys because it makes for less interesting chatter, but I'm going to go with Josh Bridges too. Either Josh Bridges or
boring.
I know it is boring. It's going to be between.
It's either Josh Bridges or Sam Dancer. That's what I'm saying.
It's going to be. It really is going to be like Rich, Miko, Josh, or Scott Panchek, I really think. And maybe like Ben Smith and Jason Kleep up there too. But I think that Josh Bridges will win it, and then Miko and Rich will be right there if Miko's healthy. And then who do I think the dark horse is going to be this year? I'm calling for a return from Graham Holmberg.
Every year you're picking a return for Graham Holmberg.
I am, and I don't know.
Comeback kid.
I mean, he
Graham
was
Holmberg.
like, top 50 in the world, but like, I feel like he'll be top 10 again this year. And then who's gonna win, or who do I want to win? F all you mother freaking mofos! I'm gonna win. I want to win. I'm bringing it home, baby. That's who I want to win.
Hey, this is a side note. This is not even related to the Open. I just want to see if you guys agree with me on this. Who is the most inefficient male?
Jason
games
Klepa.
athlete?
Yeah.
Jason Klepa.
Absolutely.
Well,
I had that conversation the other day, and I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page. He's so strong.
Right,
if he was
right,
efficient at all, he could have beat Rich Froning last year if he had efficiency. He push pressed like 325.
Wait, hold on. Here's another one. What about Neil Maddox? He should be in that conversation.
No,
Are you kidding me?
he's on the
not-
downside.
Well,
No.
You're saying the
Inefficient. In the inefficient.
No, he's pretty efficient.
Is that why he power cleaned all of his weight last year?
Not anywhere near the level of
But, I mean,
Right,
he should
right.
be.
that
He could
Jason
be
Klepa
in the
exhibits.
conversation.
Not
Ooh,
even
someone else that I think will do really well that could be, I guess, considered a dark horse is Lacey Kovacs.
Yeah,
Well,
that's very
I can see
true.
that.
Yeah,
He's also built for the Open.
yeah, he's
Hey,
making a move.
Taylor, I think that if you really if you had an option for who could win the Open, what about Manimal? You know, you might root for Manimal a little bit. I watched the old Rogue versus Again Faster videos. Watched Spewer versus Manimal. It's still as great as it was the first time I watched it.
Why are you watching those? Those are a decade
popped up.
old.
It popped up. It popped up in my YouTube. You might like this. And I was like, holy crap. I forgot about this.
I thought you were
Yes, I
talking about
would.
what popped up in your pants for a second.
Whammy,
Now,
Manimal.
when I started watching, yeah, there was a little,
went from 6 to midnight.
yeah. Little Peter North action.
Peter North.
Okay, so hey, serious question to close us out because we're coming up on an hour, and I think this is gonna be the first episode that we actually stuck to our time schedule a little bit.
Get right up.
How does Klokov do in the Open?
Wins his region.
He does every movement strict.
And still wins his region.
I have full confidence that I could beat Dmitry Klokov in the Open. Seriously, and I'm not even kidding.
I don't
Well,
know.
I mean,
I actually don't know.
I'm gonna give you that because I mean, what's he gonna do? The weight's gonna be like 115 push presses.
Caleb, no.
First 20-minute
Caleb
AMRAP,
Caleb
he's
has been
done.
sick for the past 3 weeks. He'll be sick through the entire Open.
I really will be. It's not even a joke.
Oh man, but seriously, has anyone heard any buzz? Like, is Klokov going to compete? I know someone was talking about it on, maybe it was an article that was published. I don't even know where, but
That would be awesome. Or even just anyone, like just some awesome like professional athlete in any sport that, you know, is nationally or internationally recognized.
Kendrick
That would be so
Ferris.
How about
I heard
Peyton
Kendrick
Manning?
Ferris was
Let's have
going
Peyton
to
Manning
do it,
just do it.
Caleb.
cool. Really?
did you say Dakota Fanning, Taylor?
Peyton Manning.
Yeah, the greatest quarterback of all time.
Grant was actually researching that. He just Googled Dakota Fanning CrossFit Open. So
Yeah, it looks like she's going to take this year off and do a heavy cycle of PEDs and then come back stronger next year.
I've heard Justin Timberlake has a hell of a Diane time. I don't know if that's relevant to whether or not he does
I
the
think-
Open, but I heard that.
Interesting. Okay.
Well,
Well, I think that definitely wraps it up. Now that we brought Dakota Fanning and Justin Timberlake into the conversation. Anything? Anything to close on? Caleb, what do you got?
Where do you?
Taylor's got
I
something.
don't want to give the floor to Taylor at all.
You just want to give me the leeway. I was just gonna say, how much do you think Kim Kardashian squats?
you do know that she goes to a CrossFit gym. My wife gets the Us Weekly or whatever, and she showed.
and
She
you
showed
read
me.
it, right?
She goes, "Look, Kim Kardashian does CrossFit," and I was like, "Fudge! That's all I need right now." People asking me, "Oh, you do CrossFit? Isn't that what Kim Kardashian does? She looks so good. How come your butt's not that big?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Why is there this like weird?
Yeah,
Russian
what was that
Polish
accent?
guy that
Isn't
you
that what
talked
she
to?
sounds like? I thought that's what she sounds like.
The
She's not Polish?
absolute worst accents.
She's
Every
Greek.
week, Forrest needs to do an accent, or at least do an impersonation, because you know he's going to immediately do some kind of like Eastern European accent.
Y'all are such dicks, man.
He's only got one. He only has one
What
accent.
the
It's
hell
like,
is this?
Hey,
Was
so
that
what are-
Indian?
That's
That was like Native American Indian.
That was your esophageal.
I didn't know that I did an esophageal.
Oh my God! You haven't even
Hey.
listened to our first episode.
Forrest. I don't think that Indian is the preferred nomenclature for Native Americans. Okay.
You can't call them Indians. They're called Indian tribes. Are we serious? I understand if I'm like
They're native
watching the
people,
Washington
Forrest,
Redskins.
God.
Obviously, I don't want to call them Redskins.
It's a misnomer. Just because Columbus thought that he had made it all the way to India doesn't mean that you should have that same ignorance. Come on, man.
What about Indiana? What the hell is that state named after?
Oh man, we gotta wrap it up. He's
All
gonna
right,
go on a
yeah.
rant. All right, so
quick.
we'll see you guys next week. Looking forward to it. I can't wait to discuss what the rest of the Kardashian sisters are doing for their fitness regimen.
And what they sound like.
All right,
And what they squat.
Absolutely.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.